Alright, let's start with something you guys already know, the pandemic boom. Everybody was stuck at home, games were dropping left and right, and people were dropping 20 hours a day on gaming like maniacs. Game revenue spiked. That was the obvious part. But here's the kicker. Most people miss the financial context, the real financial context that made the expansion possible. Interest rates were historically low, insanely low. I'm talking damn near 0%. If a company took out a $1 million loan at its lowest point during 2020, you know what the interest would be? $100. For 100 million, you're talking like pennies in the grand scheme of things. Money was basically free. And what do companies do when money is free? They expand more, they borrow more, they hire more people. It's an expanding frenzy. So yes, revenue was up, but it wasn't because games suddenly got amazing. It was because borrowing money was cheaper than handing out candy at a parade. Now we add stimulus checks to the mix, specifically the M1 money supply. The cash and highly liquid money circulating in the economy quintupled during the pandemic, going from roughly 4 trillion to 20 trillion. Yes, that is right, quintupled. Combined with nearly free loans, and you've basically created a temporary haven for game companies to expand ridiculously quick. Of course, printing money has consequences. Inflation shot up like a rocket. In 2020, inflation was 1.4%. 2021, it jumped to 7%. Near double digit inflation is bad for you, me, big companies, small companies, and generally the economy in general. So, the Federal Reserve had to step things down. They had to slow it down. Enter contractionary monetary policy to counteract the expansionary monetary policy of the stimulus checks and the interest rates. So now interest rates start going up to control inflation. And I mean a lot. Remember those cheap ass loans? Suddenly, they're expensive. The Federal Reserve's rate hikes brought rates from near zero to about 5% by 2024, which sounds small, but consider that this is a relative increase of 5,000%. Suddenly, all that free money you were enjoying, not so free anymore. You now need a lot more revenue just to cover the same costs you were managing easily just a couple of years ago. Alright, so maybe you think interest rates explain some stress, but not the massive layoffs at Microsoft, EA, and other big publishers in America. That's only part of the story. There is another piece that almost nobody talks about, that being Section 174. Here's the history. Before 2022 and until July of 2025, and now, I guess, software development costs could be deducted immediately. If you spent $300 million developing a game, that wasn't taxable income. Obviously, you're spending money. You're not making money. It's literally an expense. Then, in 2022, the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017's amendment to Section 174 kicked in. Suddenly, software development is now treated like a capital good, a tractor or a machine. It has to be capitalized and amortized over 5 years. What does this mean in layman's terms? Companies, tech companies, software development companies, are now taxed on money they spent, not money they earned. Let me give you an example. Suppose a game company spends $500 million developing a game. Under that 2022 to 2020 or to July 2025 rules, only a small portion, 10% if I remember correctly, is initially deductible. That means that the company is effectively being taxed as if they made $450 million, even though zero revenue has been generated yet. This is what accountants call phantom income. You didn't make that money, but the IRS treats it like you did. Now combine that with interest rates spike, and you have a perfect storm. Loans that were initially cheap are now extremely expensive, and your income is being taxed even though it doesn't exist. So, what do companies do when faced with this unprecedented scenario? Not only are you being taxed more for spending money, you are also having to pay off those big loans you took out. Well, they cut costs. And the easiest, fastest way to do it is cutting off workers, layoffs. It's not because AAA games suck. It's not because the AAA industry is dying. It's not because microtransactions are evil and indie games will come over to save the day. Shut the fuck up! You don't know this shit. Stop talking like games are art. They aren't art, dude. They're products. It's math. It's macroeconomics. It's accounting. It's not because of the games. It's never been the games. It's always been the stuff around the games. Most of these companies, by the way, still ended up with more employees than before the pandemic. So they were a reaction to, insane overspend. Then the interest rates increase. Then the section, then this, and they get laid off. That's cool. Now, as of July 2025, the one big beautiful bill, which, by the way, the Republican Senate blocked the amends. No. The Republicans basically stopped the Section 174 amendments from not being passed. So in the big beautiful bill, they made Section 174A, which, hey, research and development is now an expense and not, taxable. So that's interesting. So yeah, next time someone blames the industries, it's not the games, it's not the consumers, it's not microtransactions. Shut the fuck up, okay? It's money, it's taxes, it's interest rates, it's the boring shit, dude. The game industry isn't some epic story. It is paper pushing. It's paper pushing, all right? I'm sorry, I just have to go on a rant here. I'm so sick and tired of these gaming YouTuber, gaming Twitter, gaming Reddit pundits that think they know shit about the game industry when they aren't part of it. So yeah, I don't know. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.